as we speak, because remember the Honorable Prime Minister has already said that in every district of the country, there'll be one engineering college and there'll be one medical college. It will be government run and controlled. And I think in UP, 59 medical colleges have already come up, and there's a lot of engineering colleges. If you look at our Noida, Meerut, and even up to go to Hastinapur belt, there is full of engineering colleges. Though all of them are not government owned, but still they're reasonably and affordable to do that. So education has the focus, skill development has to be the focus, religious tourism has to be the focus, other tourism has to be the focus. You know, I've been always harping on one point, that is real estate, sustainable real estate. Sustainable real estate has the biggest opportunity in this country. Why? Because everybody cannot afford a 2 crore, 1.5 crore kind of house, 30, 40, 50 lakh kind of houses will be sold across the length and breadth of the country. And let me remind you, ma'am, real estate is the only sector which employs which creates highest number of jobs in the country and world over. Because in real estate, you can have all kinds of type of people employed. You don't need very highly skilled people. And to build a new India, because today the time has come, those old gali, kochas, mohallas and all, they have to be liberated. There's a time when it comes in every country. So this apartment-based living, modern living at a reasonable price is a multi-trillion-dollar industry. And if you look at retail, now after today the Indian retail is valued at $1.72 trillion, and 10 years down the line it will be a $3 trillion retail. So if you get real estate, if you get retail and semiconductor, to kya baat kare, it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry. Now, if you look at manufacturing, again, manufacturing creates all kinds of types of jobs, skill development programs coupled with manufacturing units, and you make sure that SMEs survive and grow. Then you can have carpet bombing of employment at the regional local level. Because everybody may not come to Noida, or everybody might not go to Lucknow, but if we have these manufacturing and all, now if we talk of the defense corridors in Kanpur, now how many jobs will it create? Let me give you an example of the Zevar Airport. Honorable Minister Sindhya ji on record is saying that a Zevar Airport will create 1 lakh jobs directly, and indirectly it will create 1 million jobs. And now what is a job here? It's very, very important to understand what is a job. Ma'am, job ka matlab hai opportunity to earth, rozgar ke avsar. It does not mean an appointment letter with the government and a PF and a gratuity and salary credit to your bank. The job means opportunities to earn. That is the economic definition of a job, rozgar ke avsar. So when these mega projects are developed, now they automatically increase employment. Private players will come, government players will come, PPP will happen. So with all this, the employment overall increases. So the notion of getting a government job or getting an appointment letter signed by Yogi Adityanath with a designation might not be the norm, which is not the norm in any world of the world. And let me remind the people here that 60% of the US economy is run by SMEs. 60% of the US GDP comes from SMEs, which is a shop wala, which is a small shop, a barber, a small restaurant and all, where some people here fancy as pakodonomics, but this is how the economy of US runs. Let them go and do a research. This kind of development is what is the need of the government. Government is not in the business of giving employment, but creating that infrastructure, creating those opportunities where people will get those opportunities to earn. That is what the magic has to be, and it has to be across the board so that the migration does not happen. Because when the migration happens to cities, the cost of living goes up, the quality of life goes down. It has two implications. Cost of living goes up, quality of life goes down. Now with the highways which are there, ma'am, the highways are crossing the length and breadth of the UP. What do we need to do? Affordable real estate, manufacturing, tourism, SMEs. Then a person does not need to migrate from a Lansdowne or a Kasganj to a place like Delhi and Mumbai. And after COVID, a lot of people from UP have not migrated back to Mumbai and other places because they have been able to find some kind of a sustainable employment in UP. I would want to compliment Yogi Adityanath on that. And last point I want to make, in Akhilesh Babu's time, the unemployment, according to CMIE data, was 79.9%. And last time when I checked it around a one-man bar, it was 2.3%. Same organization which is in existence since 1976 and is giving the unemployment data. If you want to make a political mudda of unemployment, that's fair enough. But let's talk about some tangible points to have more development. I am really, really mesmerized by this 1 trillion plan, because 90% of the countries on planet Earth do not have a GDP of 1 trillion, ma'am. This is something.
That's how it needs to be implemented on the ground.
Ideal situation to have, but unfortunately in our country it is not possible. I'll give you a few examples and correct me if I'm wrong. Now when Akhilesh Yadav ji directly talks, khulle mein bolte hain, Yadav Muslim combined. When Behan Mayawati ji talks, Jata aur Muslim ki taakat. You know, when somebody talks of a Rajvar vote bank, somebody talks of a Jat vote bank, somebody talks of an export bank, white vote bank, and how I'm going to mix and match the two and how I'm the most popular leader. When Jayant Chaudhary comes and openly talks about the Jat factor, I'm going to back Yogi Adityanath because Jat vote is with me. When Tikait comes and says, I will use all the Kisan and bring down Yogi Adityanath, though he has disappeared nowadays anyway. Maybe he is yet to be found. But so when these things are being talked in the public, I'll give you another example. I'll be direct and candid with you this time. Now, when a Muslim comes and says, Inshallah, when he comes and says, Alhamdulillah, as he says, Allah is great by the grace of Allah, no problem. When I as a Hindu will say, Jai Jai Shri Ram or Har Har Mahadev, that will become communal. Yogi will be seen communal because he wears a saffron gown. So how long can this happen in country? You know, why we need to be apologetic about being Hindus? When we say Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, Sabka Vishwas, that is done, dusted. Look at any program, look at any implementation that is there. No discrimination of any way whatsoever is there. But this thing of, oh, why should I call myself a Hindu? Why can't I say Jai Shri Ram? Why can't I say Har Har Mahadev? Inshallah is fine, Alhamdulillah is fine. But Jai Shri Ram and Har Har Mahadev, the hell starts breaking loose. So these things are things of the past. We need to go on because let's respect the mandate of the people. People know what they voted for. There's an election in 2024, which is going to come up, and the political gateway of India has to go from Lucknow. It's not the Mumbai. So there is a next election, and there are, you know, today, why is UP elections being so much of covered by across the media in the country? Even international media is covering it because UP is the political gate of India. You set the tenure for your 2024 from UP. You send a political message from UP, and without getting the UP, right, you cannot get the Delhi ki gaddi. It's as simple as that. So what is wrong in it when the mood of the country is like that, when the people is that, but at your government schemes, at development, at education, at vaccination, you are not discriminating by anything. Why are we apologetic of calling ourselves a Hindu? That is the
No. Nobody is apologetic of calling himself a Hindu, Sumit. What I'm saying is dharma, fine. When you are talking, Yogi ji never.
That you see, when Akhilesh Yadav comes and talks Yadav Muslim, koi dikkat nahi hai. When Bahan Mayawati talks Jata Muslim, koi dikkat nahi. When one talks of Jat, one talks of Kurmi, one talks of I'll get these two right and I'll win the elections. The moment BJP,
that is the reason why people
the moment BJP talks about Hindu, the moment BJP talks about Hindu, the hell starts breaking loose. Why? No, let me complete, sir.
Why the voters rejected these three names you are talking about?
Governance, good
I'm not talking about the government. I'm talking about the people concerned. They shouldn't mix two.
I'll tell you
UP. Let UP stand for let UP stand as a symbol of development.
It is not possible because others are going to do it. If you don't do it, others will do it. Can you ask Akhilesh Yadav to stop talking about Yadav vote bank?
That is the reason why did he not come this time? Why? He could have very well.
Even Bahan Mayawati acknowledged on the national TV, all Muslims have voted for SP.
That's why they have voted out.
Then what did it
They're
happen?
not there in the government.
Hindu vote had got fractured. Again,
Well, it has to be at this point of time addressed, acknowledged the fact that yes, people
Understand the analogy here. You know, if I have to build a one-story house, I can just have my roof resting on the bricks. But the moment I have to build a 20-story or a 100-story building, I go deep into the earth. Then I build a cage. I build a cage of pillars. Then I put the bricks within that cage. So if the infrastructure is being built in, then the vision is long-term. Vision means I'm building a बहुत बड़ा building, a 100-story building. That is why I'm going deep. I'm laying the foundation. I'm doing the pillar work. So that is what is done. Like if you look at any economy, if you look at US, if you look at US after Industrial Revolution, what did they do first? They started building the infrastructure. The moment you have the infrastructure, that means of your long-term commitment for development and sustainable development. Otherwise, you cannot have an industry coming up and there is no airport, there is no expressway, there is no road, there is no industrial area cut. Then you can only have what UP had traditionally, the small industries. You could have a place like Moradabad making brass only, and then these mega projects and mega industries are not possible. So planned development is which makes the merry-go-round. And when billions of dollars are kind of invested that so means there is a vision. Let me tell you, now look, if I go back 20-25 days, Ashwini Vaishnav ji and Chandrasekhar ji told that by 2026 or 2028, I can't remember it correctly, we are going to export $300 billion worth of electronic goods from India, because by that time we'll get the semiconductor part of it, right? We have put $10 or $12 billion for this from a government side to get the ball rolling and to help the people to do it. So this is the long-term vision. I might be putting $12 billion here, but 4 years down the line, I'm talking of an export of $300 billion. We are already exporting BrahMos to Philippines. Malaysians are asking us for tanks. Vietnam is asking for us BrahMos. There are so many countries which are now coming to us. Now, even if you look at AK-203, the first 70 or 700 units will come from Russia. All will be manufactured in UP now. So the transfer of technology is happening. When this mega infrastructure is put by the government, the only one thing which is amply clear and where all the doubts are out on the table, it's not a piecemeal. It's not a knee-jerk. ये नहीं कि मुझे आज कुछ ख्याल आया. When I put this money, I means I have a plan, because without a big master plan, why would you need a highway? Why would you need an airport? Why would you need an expressway? Because the question which is going to ask you, bhai karoge kya iska? So unless and until you have a master plan, these things are not needed and they will not never ever be approved by the honorable CM and the PM. So that, ma'am, 2024 is now the next big thing on the charter if we look from today, because before that it was a UP election. Now you see the opposition this time has not done too bad. If you compare their performance last time around to this time, they have done sizably well. So there is a challenge, there is an uphill task which has to be worked on. And what is the Parikalpana of Ram Raj? The Parikalpana of Ram Raj is where equality and justice is delivered to all at the level of a government. That is Ram Raj, where there is statutory equality. Everybody has a right to his religion, to his practices, and there is equality to all. There is equality for all and appeasement to none. That is what essentially the Ram Raj means. And if you look at the tenure of Yogi Adityanath, that has been the norm, and there has been no signs of any inequality, discrimination, and all. That will continue. But at the same time, the challenge now is you have to re-energize your cadre for the 2024, because that is where the real test is. And if you can get around 70-75 seats like last time, the Delhi ki gaddi to phir aapki hai. There will be no challenges in any way whatsoever. And opposition will also see these 2 years to create all kinds of drama, theatrics, allegations, counter allegations. And incidentally, I came to know that this hijab protest suddenly disappeared. So things like that will keep on coming and copying and disappearing, Kisan movements and all. We have to be prepared for that. It's an uphill task. And here on, the tempo has to be maintained. But the good thing about the BJP is they are 24/7 into 365 into the Chunavi mode. They don't get out of the Chunavi mode. They are never those people who sit back, relax, and when a Chunav comes 6 months before that directive, they would have already started preparing for the next Chunav. Yeah. And 2024 is the focus. You see the kind of cabinet ministers that are there. You see the central muscle power which is being shown at a oath of a UP chief minister is a very, very clear indication. We are signaling at 2024 and we are already all prepared for it. And even at an informal level, even as Samiti and all will have been formed that by that time, who will do what? It's a very cadre-based party. They work like a tireless machine. It's an engine which works when it comes to Rajniti. When you look at the opponents, today most of them did not come for swearing in, and they will only come up when the things are, haywire. And incidentally, the opposition has stooped so low. Now they are even criticizing a movie which is about the reality, and they want to use Kashmir files to bring down Prime Minister Modi and Yogi Adityanath. That is the tyranny. If this is the kind of opposition the country has, I'm sorry, they have to look at 2029. 24 mein to kuch nahi rakha. 2024 is foregone. They have to look at 2029. And why the opposition unity is not there? Where is their agenda? Where is their leader? Incidentally, I don't know where is Rahul Gandhi ji. Is he still in country, or which country is he in? So these are some tough challenges which are being talked about. There's a lot of dissonance within them. There's a lot of infighting within them, and they are facing a relentless, tireless machine which works 24/7. And the most important thing is it is not personality driven. It's not a private limited company like others. It's not about one man deciding everything. Everything is decided democratically, practically, tactically, and in a very transparent way. That is the essence of survival of BJP.
Okay, Amit Tiwari, would you like to get into the conversation since we
up, and I'm very sure that even if you see at the GDP from number 6 to number 2, FDI number 1, ease of doing business number 2, while as we have traditional rivals like Maharashtra and Tamil Nadu, they really need to do a catch-up with UP. Today the position is Tamil Nadu and Maharashtra need to do a catch-up with UP, because the way UP is progressing, and I'm telling you, ma'am, with all the conviction in my heart and mind, just after 5 to 10 years, UP will be the jewel of the crown of Indian economy. Jewel of the crown of Indian economy. I have no doubt on that. यूपी तो हनुमान जी की तरह जिनको अपनी शक्ति का पता नहीं, बस एक बार याद दिलाने की जरूरत है, और बाबा से अच्छा कौन है? और ये बाबा का बुलडोजर चलता है, बहुत सी लोगों की नींद उड़ती है, रूह कांपती है, और वो उड़नी चाहिए, रूह कांपनी चाहिए, जरूरी है.
Okay, all right. So
90 or 92,000 rupees. So there's a substantial rise in the per capita income. The biggest mobile karkhana in the world, the biggest mobile factory of the world of Samsung is in UP today. Now, Xavier, if you look at Xavier, it's a carbon neutral airport, the biggest airport in the world, and carbon neutral. That's one more achievement. Now, when you go to the rural Uttar Pradesh, there is one significant thing which I have been always harping on, and I have tried, this message should reach across to people who matter through some other sources as well, is that, why don't we start cooperatives? Amul today is a phenomenal success, right? With $5.2 billion of revenue, Amul is a phenomenal success. We can have one Amul in every district of Uttar Pradesh. That is where the concept of each district focus on one thing. So cooperatives are the thing which can really revolutionize the rural economy. According to a McKinsey survey, if our women population, which is highest unproductive population in the world vis-a-vis earnings, I'm talking about, if they start making even $100 a month, within 2 years our GDP will just double. Within 2 years, और कुछ नहीं करना. So now the focus has to be how to utilize these women folk and how can we get them into some kind of a rural employment thing. The best thing which comes to my mind is why don't we all look at Amul? Why can only Amul be in Gujarat? Why don't we look at the phenomenal success of Mother Dairy? Mother Dairy is a phenomenal success at PSUs. Why don't we look at the success of ISRO? The point I'm trying to make is the highest cutting edge technology in this country is still made by DRDO. We may not like it or not. But now the question is that if we have such phenomenal successes of government entities which have made, why don't we make this cooperative movement as a revolution in India? Every state should have a cooperatives minister, wherein they should set these various cooperatives for handicraft, for doodh, for butter, for milk. There's so many options where our women folk can be, utilized. I'll give you one more example. We've discussed on NewsX. Today, $32 billion comes to Bangladesh from export of, cotton garments to US. $20 billion is the money they make out of 32, which I remember the number very correctly, because 20 billion both hote hain. Now, instantly, 98% of cotton is exported from India to Bangladesh. Sochiye, and to grow that cotton, we need so much of water. We have so much of farmer suicide problems because cotton is a heavy water intensive crop. It's not beneficial to grow cotton. Now, if we are growing the cotton, why don't we start a cottage industry? Cottage industry shuru karte hai, and then a cooperative will buy from them and export. If Bangladeshis can export for $32 billion, why can't we export from UP? What stops us? We have the youth, we have the population, we have the women population which are highly productive. A woman of UP can do ample multitasking, and she's really a die-hard breed. I mean, hats off to them, salam karta hu main unko. So if the potential is utilized, why are we letting Bangladesh get $32 billion on a platter and $20 billion of profit? It's not I have anything against Bangladesh, but there are so many such options which can be explored at minimalistic cost and use our population in villages and towns without building any mega infrastructures and start generating the employment at the village level. We just need a cooperative like NFTS who can buy and export. That's all what we need. We can do it. I mean, if we could bring up a vaccine, if we could bring up a Arogya Setu app in 3 weeks, if we have made so many vaccines, we have turned the world around with the HCQ and all, it's only a matter of resolve. It's the intent of karma. What Sri Krishna rightly says, the intention of karma determines the outcome of karma. If your intention of your karma is right, which Yogi ji, nobody can doubt. Politician chhod dijiye. He's a yogi by heart, core and soul. And when his intention is right, only the blessings of Mahadev, Sri Krishna and Sri Ram are going to follow and the UP is going to rock. I have no doubt about it. And there is no politics in it. There's no politics about it. It's the pure power of Yogi.
Okay. All right. I thank